So many good things happening this morning. Art, gala events, even some tech. But first, something rotten. That's how we're starting. That's the name of a hit Broadway musical that's here in San Francisco. And here to tell us all about it is one of its stars, Adam Pascal. Welcome to Base Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you with us. So this musical focuses on Shakespeare and some of the characters in his shadows. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, the show is set in the Renaissance, and it's about these two brothers, Nick and Nigel Bottom, who are playwrights who have not had much success in their career. And so Nick Bottom goes and he visits a soothsayer, a fortune teller. And the fortune teller tells him that the next big thing in musicals, in theater, is going to be this thing called musicals. And he starts getting all of these different images of these musicals from the future, but he doesn't know what they are. He just gets little pieces of them in his head, and he starts telling Nick all about them. And so they end up creating this musical that is like a haphazard conglomeration of all of these little pieces of these famous musicals from throughout the years. And my character, Shakespeare, is the successful sort of rock star of the day, and they're sort of at odds with him, and there's a little bit of rivalry going on, and it's just a really funny, farcical, satirical look at musicals.
So it's a melting pot of different musicals.
Very much, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about your character in this.
Well, he's the good thing about playing somebody like Shakespeare is that we actually know very little about him and his personality. So you really have poetic license to do whatever you want with him. So he's very much a peacock. He's somebody who loves to show off. He loves his celebrity. He loves everything about the lifestyle of being this famous quote unquote rock star of the day. But he's actually somebody who is not thrilled with doing the work. He just likes to be famous. Kind of like somebody else I know.
Okay.
In our current state of affairs.
Right.
Yeah, and so you get to play him. One gets to play him like with a lot of sort of flair and sort of he's a combination of Freddie Mercury and David Lee Roth and Stewie Griffin and
there you are. There's the rock star dressed in whatever you're wearing there. Tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing right here.
Well, I mean, these are just little pieces, little clips from different numbers. And my character has these fabulous leather, shiny outfits, and it's a really, I mean, it's one of the most fun roles I've ever had the opportunity to do. You really just get to be silly for 2 hours.
We hear some of the music in the background. Tell us a little bit more about the music throughout the show. Is it fairly similar, or does it go from one thing to the next? Does it go from hip hop to?
Well, there's no hip hop,
okay.
but
like Hamilton, right?
Yeah, it definitely goes. It definitely runs the gamut, and it's more of a modern feel musically. It's the vocabulary is a more modern vocabulary of music than what would be generally known as a traditional musical. The writers, the Kirkpatrick brothers, they are, or Wayne is a contemporary songwriter, and so his background is in writing hits for other people. So the guys don't come from a musical theater background, interestingly enough, because the show is so musically theaterly heavy. But they come from more of a pop background. So the music is definitely more accessible to sort of the average person than a more sort of traditional type Broadway score.
And what was your journey to get to this point to play Shakespeare in this musical? I know you've also been a part of other Broadway musicals, including Rent.
Yeah, I was in the original cast of Rent back in 1995. I was in the original cast of Aida. I've done about 7 Broadway musicals. And so this is just, another step in my evolution and my journey, doing live theater.
Yeah. How does this role compare to some of the other roles that you've played?
Well, I've done
the difficulty of preparing for it.
I don't prepare.
Okay, it's all added.
There's no difficulty at all.
You just make it up as you go.
Yeah, I've done predominantly dramatic musical theater roles, and so the opportunity to now do comedy for me is just the greatest experience. It's easier to make people cry than it is to make them laugh, and so I find that the rewards that I get as a performer being part of a really funny comedy are tenfold compared to doing a dramatic role.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us here on Base Sunday.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on this musical. Once again, Something Rotten playing through September 10th at SHN Orpheum Theater. For tickets and information, you could go to shnsf.com. Coming up, can anyone break into tech? Find out how when Base Sunday comes right back.